Do you ever get to the end of a podcast episode and feel like, ugh, now I have to wait until next Tuesday for more?
Are you asking me or our listeners?
I mean, I was asking our listeners, but now I'm curious. Do you feel that way too?
Honestly, I might. I mean, if it weren't for Modern Agent Social Club, because members get to be in the middle of marketing conversations like this every single day.
That's true. For our members, it's basically Marketing Girl Summer.
Exactly. Like, sun's out, strategy's out.
So if you love the podcast, maybe you've already started trying a few things and you're seeing results, but just imagine how much more momentum you could build inside the club.
Because the podcast is where we talk strategy, but inside Modern Agent Social Club, like, of course, you're going to get great content, as I do say so myself. But more than that, you're going to get a results-driven marketing plan.
Carousels and reel prompts and emails, it's all great, but how do they all work together to make you the real estate go-to girl? That's why we provide you with an entire marketing system so you don't have to figure out how all these pieces connect.
So if you're tired of waiting a whole week between episodes and you're tired of DIYing your real estate marketing, make this your most fun and productive summer yet.
And join us today at modernagentsocialclub.com for your first official Marketing Girl Summer. Now back to the show.
You know that feeling when you open your inbox and find another Google review from a happy client? Well, we feel the same way when our listeners leave a review on Apple Podcasts for our show.
It's honestly so helpful because reviews give you the words straight from your client's mouth that impacts the way you run your business going forward. And the same is true for us.
Yeah, when we read your reviews, it helps us understand what you love and what you want more of, which makes the show better in return. And really, everyone wins here.
So before you listen to today's episode, could you take 1 minute and leave us a 5-star review and tell us one thing you're loving about the show? We promise we'll be here ready to chat when you're done.
And after leaving that review, make sure you screenshot it and send it to support@modernagentsocialclub.com with your mailing address, because we have a fun little surprise for you as a way to say thank you.
XOXO, the Marketing Girls.
Don't be afraid to get ruthless. Like, your time is precious. If there's anything we've learned from Taylor Swift, right? Like, your energy is expensive. And if you're spending your energy on things that are cheap and that don't move the needle and that don't get you more clients and don't get you more closings, it's not worth your time. How do I get more leads?
How do I stand out in my market?
Is it unprofessional to talk about my kids on Instagram? Should I have one account or two? Do I really need a personal brand as a real estate agent?
We are the Modern Agent Marketing Girls. We are 2 agents turned marketing experts who believe you can become the go-to real estate girl in your market, all because you are you. I'm Chelsea Peterson, founder and CEO of Modern Agent Social Club.
And I'm Kayla Fox, Modern Agent's content creator. Let us be your guide as we talk about what it means to market your real estate business the modern way.
So refill your favorite beverage, open your notes app, and get ready to build a business and a brand you're obsessed with. Let's go.
Good morning. Welcome back to another episode of the Modern Agent Marketing Girls podcast. It is Kayla here today, and you guys, I'm here riding solo, which reminds me of that song, like, you guys remember that? Riding solo, riding solo. That's how I'm feeling today. It is just me in the studio today. We have had, oh my gosh, so much going on behind the scenes, and we are in the final stages of our new members website, which we have been, we've been planning this for like a year. So Chelsea has been busy working on that and all of those things. So I said, you know what, I'll just take over this one. And it's a good one for me to take over because this whole topic today is something that I am like super passionate about. So I was probably going to dominate the conversation anyway. So I may as well just own it, right? I don't know how it is for you guys, but today it is like beautiful fall weather, which I'm a summer girl, so I always get a little sad about that, but I'm like loving it. It's like, it's football weather, and you guys know I'm married to a football coach, so we've been spending our evenings outside watching everybody hit everybody, and it's been amazing. I'm actually wearing one of my favorite game day shirts today. I'll stand up so you can see it if you're watching on YouTube. But it says, on game day, we ruffle feathers, because we're the Eagles. And I love making shirts for football season. You know, I figure if you have to sit in the stands your whole life, you may as well look cute doing it, right? So I have loved doing that. And it's kind of funny because Coach's wife life has looked so different for me over the years. I look back to when Brett and I first got married, and he was coaching at a college, and I would just like show up, and it was no big deal. And then before you knew it, I had a baby, and then 2 babies, and then 4 babies. Like, it all just like, oh my gosh, it's just like a snowball effect, right? it's funny how different it's looked for me over the years. And I actually remember I had a friend that I was talking to one time during football season when I probably had a couple kids and I was like feeling it because, like my husband's gone every evening. Plus, obviously, Friday nights there's games, which I attend most of them. And then on Saturdays, he does like JV games and freshman games and whatever, and like the youth leagues. So like it's a 6-day week, and then Sunday nights are meetings. It's just nonstop all the time. And of course, when you have a bunch of little ones, that's really, really hard. So I've definitely had my harder seasons. Now we're kind of entering a new season where my kids like run around at the games with their friends and they can put on their own shoes. And I don't need to bring a change of pajamas or diapers or anything for them. So it's a lot easier. But I remember having this conversation with my friend just about like, I don't know how to do this. I feel like there's like a hack that I'm missing, or I feel like there's like something that I could do that would make this season better, and I don't know what it is. And I remember that's when she first told me about the Lazy Genius. You guys have probably heard me talk about her before, Kendra Adachi. She's the host of the Lazy Genius podcast. This was kind of like, this was probably 5 years ago, 6 years ago. So she was telling me all about just how like, okay, like if you just listen to her, she helps you like break down every little decision that you make and like makes it so that you could make it so much easier on yourself. And I'm like, well, tell me more about that, because I am like on the struggle bus over here and I feel like I'm just like drowning, right? So that's when I first heard about her. I was totally like hooked, totally bought in from the second I started listening. Read her book. She's got The Lazy Genius Way. She actually has a few other books out right now too, but The Lazy Genius Way was her first. And it kind of just goes over, there's 13 principles that she's kind of established to help make your life a little easier. And she does this by saying you become a genius about the things that matter and becoming lazy about the things that don't. And when you can kind of focus on what actually matters and you can let go of everything else, everything in your life like just becomes a little bit easier, a little bit lighter, a little less overwhelming. And I don't know about you, but I could use that for sure over here. So I actually did a training on this a couple years ago in the members group shortly after I started working for Modern Agent. And just to like help simplify content creation and scheduling and all of those things. And I remember like people really responded well to it. So it's been on our radar for so long to come back to it. And today is finally the day. So it's your lucky day. So buckle up. We're going to go over 13 principles, and we're going to kind of rapid fire through these. There's a few that I'll probably spend a little bit more time on just because they are like more significant for real estate agents, but I'm going to go over all of these just with the notion of like, okay, as real estate agents, what does this actually look like for us? The book is written more from a standpoint as women, as wives, as homeowners, that kind of thing, like just like people that are managing households, but like I was able to kind of take some of these things out, retwist them a little bit so that it makes more sense for real estate agents. But I will preface this by saying the entire book is based on the fact that you have to name what matters. This is such an important like concept. And it's one, Chelsea and I get asked all the time, like, hey, can you audit my profile, or can you tell me what I could do better, and all of that. And, it's easy for us to like jump in and be like, oh yeah, sure. Like we'd love to help. But we have just learned if we don't know what's important to you in your season of life, it's really hard for us to give you advice. Everyone has different goals. There are some of you who are listening who want to do real estate on the side because you actually really like your full-time job, but you want to have this just to have some extra income over the years. Your feed should look completely different than someone who wants to go all in and wants to build a team and wants to start a brokerage and all the things, right? And so if we don't know your actual goals, if we don't know how much time you want to spend away from your family working on real estate or vice versa, it's really hard for us to give you advice and point you in the right direction. So the whole concept of like naming what matters is going to be something that comes up again and again and again in this whole podcast. And so I want you to continue to look at that. And this is what's so cool. So like you'll listen to this episode today and you'll walk away with like hopefully a lot of ideas and a lot of clarity. If you listen to this again in 6 months or in a year, you're probably going to walk away with different ideas, with different thoughts, with different takeaways, because what matters in every season is going to be different, right? What matters in my season right now, as someone who's just in the like start of football season, who's got all these kids in school, who's got, all these games and practices and all of that all week long, what's going to matter to me right now is going to be completely different than what I would say in like December, right? Over like Christmas break. That's a completely different season of life. Okay, so principle number 1 is decide once. This one might be my favorite, so I might spend the most time on this. But you guys, this is life-changing. If you can figure out this concept and like apply it in just a couple different aspects of your life, I'm convinced you're going to be able to like show up in a totally new way, and you're going to have this whole new like outlook on like possibility of what you can actually do in your business, right? One of the quotes in the book is you're going to decide once and never again, and that's what gives your brain room to play. So the idea is like choosing something one time and then not revisiting it again for a while. She uses a couple examples in the book that include things like choosing what she wears on Monday mornings. And it seems like silly, but she's like, I have so much on my mind on a Monday morning that like knowing that I know exactly what to grab in my closet because this is what I always wear, which I'm pretty sure is like a black t-shirt and jeans every single Monday. She's like, it just helps me get started. It's like my power outfit, right? I have done this in a lot of different ways. So I started applying this in my life when it came to like meal planning. We always have the football staff over at our house after every game. And there's a while there where I was like reinventing the wheel every single week, trying to come up with like this brand new meal. When I finally came up with like, okay, if we have 10 games in a season for sure, then I'm going to start with, the first week we always do tacos. The second week we always do barbecue, whatever. And like, I've literally done the same things every single year. But it's made it so much easier. I don't have to think about it. I have enough to worry about. I don't need to think about what I'm feeding people. When I've been able to do that, it's made like grocery planning easier, all the things. Chelsea and I recently started doing this when it came to recording the podcast. So we were like, oh my gosh, with how much we have to juggle all the time with like all of our other responsibilities with the membership and all of that, we were like, let's just choose on Wednesdays. Wednesdays are always recording days. And there might be one Wednesday here or there if we get a little ahead where we don't have something, but we just know that on Wednesdays, our house needs to be quiet and we need to have access to our mic so that we can start working and start recording. So when deciding once, we don't have to think about it again. We don't have to look at our schedule and try to squeeze something in. It's just there and we just know that it's there. So what can this look like for real estate agents? This can look like a lot of different things. First of all, let's talk about like brand menu. So in case it's been a little while since you have heard us talk about this, brand menu is our idea of having a few core things that you consistently talk about and consistently mention and tie into your content just to make your whole brand and business more memorable. So that can look like a color that you always wear or like tie in or your font, yes, but it also includes like, oh, I always film a little something when I go on my morning walk with my dog, or I always get on stories when I'm in the car pickup line to pick up my kids because that's just like my cue, right? That's when I show up and that just becomes part of your brand. You become the mom agent who, sells houses in your area. This can look like the local spots in town that you're always mentioning, you're always visiting, and it's funny. It's not a matter of like, oh, and I have to go to these places because this is part of my brand, but it's like your cue, like, hey, when I go to the library or when I go to the football game or when I go wherever, like that's when I pull out my phone and start recording because that's like creating some consistency in your brand. When you have those places and those bullet points of your brand in your mind and you've decided like these are the things I'm going to talk about, these are the things I'm going to consistently tie in, it makes it so much easier. I don't feel this like pressure to constantly pull out my phone, constantly record new things, constantly show new aspects of my life. Like really, I'm consistently showing the same parts of my life, which is a very actually small fraction of my life, but it still allows people to get to know me, right? And the same is true for you too. You don't have to constantly be recording and documenting every part of your life. You don't have to show up and you don't have to, obviously participate in any trend. You don't have to do all of these things all the time. What you have to do is decide what you're going to do. And then you have to stick with it for a while. And then guess what? In a few weeks, few months, whatever that looks like for you, you can revisit it. You can make some tweaks, make a few changes, but it's going to give your brain more room to play. It's going to actually give your brain more headspace for like taking on more clients or improving your client communication, to give you to help you improve your processes at your work. So this isn't just about your brand. It's not just about social media marketing. It's about becoming a better agent overall, right? This can also look like a lead magnet. So we don't need to have 47 lead magnets. I recommend having maybe 2. I would always do a local one because that's going to be the widest net that you cast. And then I would always do either a buyer or a seller one. We actually offer too just like a market guide in our membership so that agents, especially like as the market has up and down so much the last couple of years, it helps people to kind of give them like a good overview, like a bird's eye view of like, this is what's happening in the market in our city. So something like that is really powerful. And like, those are really great lead magnets to have. But if you know you have 1 or 2 lead magnets, then you don't have to like constantly be thinking of something else you could give away or a new way to get people to sign up for something. Like, just keep leaning into the things that you have. That's what's going to make it so much easier for you. And it's going to make you memorable and make you known for those things that you do have. So if you are the agent with the amazing local guide, or if you are the agent that has like the most up-to-date market information on what's actually happening in your city versus like all these national headlines, people are going to remember that and they're going to know that. And you've decided at one time and you've stick with it for a year. Like, literally, don't reinvent the wheel every couple of weeks. And you're going to find that as the ball starts to roll, like, the snowball effect is really going to like happen right before your eyes. Like, it's actually kind of insane. Another way that you can do this is like naming your email. We tell people in our membership, we just call it like, have them join your email club. But if you can come up with like a fun, I recommend some kind of local name for your email list, then it makes you, again, known for that one thing. If you can create some kind of like end slide, or we call them like call to action slides, so that at the end of every carousel, there's some kind of picture of you that shows like, here's how you can work with me. Like, you can, comment local for my local guide. You can comment consult for my mini consult, or whatever. Like, give them like a punch list of ways that they can connect with you and ways that they can work with you. If you just have that done and you've decided one time what that's going to be, what's going to be included on it, your content creation process is going to be not only a lot easier and faster, but it's going to be more effective because you're going to be repetitive. You're going to constantly have that information out there. People don't have to dig for that information because anytime that they swipe through anything of yours, they're going to see that same piece of information. It's going to be super helpful for them. Another way that you can do this is by theming your days. So kind of like what I talked about with how Chelsea and I decided, like, okay, Wednesdays are our recording days. You can do the same thing. So you can know that like every Monday morning you send an email, or every other Monday or whatever. Every Thursday you hop on your stories and you share whatever. You don't have to theme every single day, and you don't have to announce this. This doesn't have to be like this big splash on your page of like, now every Wednesday I'm going to go on a home tour. But you can just kind of pencil it in and just know that like, hey, these are the things that I do consistently every week to like move the needle in my business. Sometimes that's going to change. Some things are going to come up. You might have an inspection, or you might have a closing, or whatever. Like, that's totally fine. But if you have those things penciled in and you've decided this is what I'm going to do, then that morning when you wake up, you're not going to find yourself doing the endless scroll saying, I don't know, like, what should I do here? What should I do here? So you're going to know what to do. You're going to show up more confidently. And again, in turn, that's going to make you more memorable. So guys, if I haven't drilled this home enough, it is decide once. Choose 1 or 2 things right now, like in this week, that you could decide one time that would just make your life a little bit easier and free up your headspace so that you can focus on things that matter, right? Because again, that's what it's all about, right? Naming what matters. Okay, let's go to number 2. Start small. Now, I don't know if you're an Enneagram 3 like me, but this is a really hard one to do because I'm like a go big or go home kind of girl, right? Like, if I'm going to do something, I want to do it right. I want to like strive for excellence. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're anything like me, then you probably have wasted a lot of time just perfecting something on the back end when you could have started getting your offer out there and started getting your message out there and connecting with people. And that's the thing that's going to get you a paycheck, right? So in the book, she mentions a couple different ways that you can start small, but I just want to read like 2 little things here. One of them is the idea of like, why starting small is better than starting too big. And it says, even if you're moving toward a goal that does matter, small steps are still your best bet because you'll actually move. If instead you put too much pressure on yourself with a big system, you'll spend more time tending to its maintenance than actually gaining momentum. How many of you are like, guilty? because I have been there before. It says a life of meaning doesn't happen in one fell swoop, but in small, intentional decisions day after day. It's intended to be cared for. Shortcuts don't always work, and big systems are even less effective. Small steps matter and are easier to keep taking. So let's think about this. Think about starting too big. Let's just use the classic like CMA example here. I've heard so many agents talk about how their CMA is actually a really time consuming thing. And while if you would actually follow every step in it and like fill out every little thing and follow up every single time, do all the touch points, all the things, while that probably would actually work, what I have found is a lot of times agents spend more time catering their CMA than actually doing the connecting with their clients or with their leads or whatever. And so how can we focus more on just doing the small little things, which to me, it's like calling someone up and saying, hey, would you like to grab lunch? Or doing an email follow-up and saying, hey, you asked me about this about 3 months ago. I just wanted to follow up and see where you were with this. Hey, would you like to grab coffee? I mean, those little things are what moves the needle and what gets you in conversation with future buyers and sellers in your community. If we would spend more time doing those things, and those are just like small little things that really like you can only have so many checklists for, right? Like at some point in time, it's just a matter of like being human and like doing the work. If you spend more time doing that than you do trying to find the best CMA and trying to like upload all your contacts and rearrange all these things and come up with this cool automation, like I am like the queen of automation. I do love that. But I'm telling you, I am convinced that so many agents are spending more time doing that. And, we've done it too. There's a lot of times when it's like, oh, we could come up with this freebie or we could do this or whatever. But at some point in time, it's like, or we could lean into the one that we already have and we could improve our email funnel with it. We could put some ads behind it. We could do all of those things. And then we could see like, okay, this is actually what's working. Like we don't have to like rebuild something from the ground up every time. That is the beauty of starting small. So what does this look like for real estate agents? A couple of just ideas. You can spend 1 minute in stories every day. That feels so insignificant, but I'm telling you, like 1 minute, that's basically like 3 or 4 story slides of just showing up and sharing one part of your day. I would have one of those be your face on camera, saying something to the camera, or at least a B-roll clip. But the other things can just be little clips of your day, showing what you're doing, showing what you're working on. Use that Modern Agent Content Cocktail, which is episode 16, I believe, where you infuse a little bit of your personality, a little bit of real estate, and a little bit of your local community. If you kind of drip that in your stories, and I'm telling you, like you can do this in a minute a day, that will allow you to stay in front of your warmest leads, okay? So your warmest leads, those are the people who are watching your stories. So you might have 2,000 followers, but you might only have 400 people watching your stories, which is a lot of people, by the way. But those 400 people, those are the ones who are telling their friends about you. Those are the ones that are referring to the things that you said in your email and the reel that you show that they're sending to their friend. They're your warmest leads. They're the people that you want to nurture. You can do that in 1 minute a day. And I'm telling you, I know it's small, but it's powerful. Another way to start small, just post once a week. We don't have to have 28 pieces of content per month that we're producing and putting out there and customizing and adding things to and getting more pictures of and all the things. You can be so effective even by just doing the bare minimum. And here's the deal. Starting small, it doesn't mean you stay small. It doesn't mean that that's where you're at forever. It's not the same as deciding once. That is your starting point. And it's about like, again, getting those reps in, building up that muscle. If you start lifting weights and you're lifting a 5-pound weight and you're like, oh, my arms are sore. After a few weeks, it's not going to feel so sore. 10's not going to feel like that big of a jump. You're going to be able to add more to your plate as time goes on. But committing to posting once a week is getting you in that habit, getting you in that rhythm, just showing up. I think about like James Clear talking about how his best advice for someone who wants to go to the gym and work out every day is to start by setting your alarm for like 30 minutes earlier and just like literally just setting your alarm. And then the next week, like putting on workout clothes. And then the next week, putting on your shoes, whatever. And eventually, like, even if you just drive to the gym and you don't go in, you're still starting small and you're still building that muscle. Because what's going to happen is at some point in time, you're going to wake up, you're going to get dressed, you're going to go to the gym, and you're going to do your workout before you've even had time to think, oh man, I need to go do my workout today. Like, that's going to take zero brain power if you do it in such small increments. Another way to start small is just by documenting your day. And here's what I mean by this. I don't mean documenting, posting. I mean, literally like practice getting out your phone and taking little pictures, little video clips. I'm talking like 8 seconds max. Okay. So many times we are like, okay, I know I need to show up. I know I need to do all these things. And then you take all this B-roll and then you go to post it and you're like, this looks terrible. Or like, I didn't realize the lighting was so bad. Or I don't like the angle that I'm sitting at. And then we don't do anything, right? And so actually, like, we've wasted a lot of time. But if we would just practice documenting and practice taking those photos and just get in the habit of like, okay, when I go here, I do this. Like when I do, I for me, myself, like, every time on game day, I always try to like document parts of our day. One thing that I do is I always try to take my phone and take a little video of our fence art that's on the football fence as I'm picking up my kids from school. Because to me, it's just fun. It's a fun way to like remember and like add to like my stories or whatever. And so I just know like on Fridays as I'm driving, I don't even think about it anymore. I see the fence art. I pull out my phone. I'm driving down the road and I'm recording it just like this. Probably super safe, by the way. But when you document like that, and if you commit to documenting your day just for like a month and don't post any of it, don't worry about any of that stuff yet, but then go back and start to notice what looks good, what felt good, what looked really terrible. I know I've done this too. I actually, the other day, I was recording something in my kitchen and I went to go walk away and I was like, oh, wait a minute, that actually looks really cool. And then when I stepped back, I realized that the way that the light was coming into the dining room, like the floor looked really cool. There was like plants there that had like a cool shadow. And then like when I had my phone right here with like my glass of iced coffee, I'm like, oh, that actually is like really pretty. You don't get that right on the first time, but you start to notice and you start small like that. And now I know, like, you know what, like I'm going to pay attention to that in the morning because that's kind of a cool like look. It's kind of an artistic way to like show parts of my day. And like, it's small, right? It's very simple. So start small, keep it simple. Have your big goals, like go for your big goals, but then break it down into really small steps and just focus on those small steps. Okay, we're going to keep moving along here. Number 3 is ask the magic question. So the magic question, according to Kendra Adachi, is what can I do now to make life easier later? So the truth is you can't do this in every aspect of your life. Otherwise, you're always just preparing for the next thing. And so it's not actually helpful. But there are so many like simple little things you can do that actually make your life easier. One thing that we started doing now that like my son's in football practice and my daughter has cheer and all the things is I said right after school, come home, refill your water bottle and then put it in the fridge. Because 9 times out of 10, when it's time for us to leave and we're already running late, then we're like, shoot, we need the water bottles. And we're like going and looking for the lids and the straws and all the things. And it's like pure chaos. So starting to implement that little thing of like, oh, right when you get home, you fill up your water bottle, you get it ready. It makes life so much easier. I do this all the time with my kids by like packing their lunches the night before. Or like the other day I made a bunch of lunches. Like I made like a bunch of like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, threw them in the freezer. Did you know you could still do this? And then like it's nice and cool and the bread tastes totally fine by the time it's lunchtime. Fill up your car with gas the night before you have like a closing instead of feeling like, oh shoot, now I need to go do this. There's little things that you can do that you make life easier. Again, what does this look like for real estate agents, right? One thing that you can do is you can schedule like a B-roll or photo day. Chelsea and I have talked about several times how we did this in our own business and how we met at this house and spent an entire day just shooting B-roll. Like our phones were constantly like this the whole time that we were there. But we got so much footage. We got so many pictures. And like for us living 4 hours apart, we've been able to have a lot of content together because of that one day. So that's something that you can easily do. You can always prep the next season's guide. So in our membership, we offer like a summer guide, a fall guide, Christmas guide, whatever. So you don't have to do every single guide. I don't think that you need to. But as you are like right now, like as we're wrapped up summer and now fall's headed, a couple weeks ago, I would have started prepping the fall guide. Maybe you've missed that window. Now you're like, you know what? I'm going to focus on something holiday related and like get that done now. Like what can you do now to make life easier later? Set up a content corner in your home or just know where you're going to film. So whether that's in your car or like the corner of your office, whatever, you can just have a few, I'm not even going to say the word like Instagrammable, but like a few cute little corners that match the vibe of your brand. For me, that's usually right here that you're seeing now. I also have like these like pink bookshelves that I like to show. I've got like my kitchen that I spend a lot of time in. So there's just a couple little spots that I continually show in my house. You've never seen my whole house, but it's consistent and it makes my imagery and my brand so much more memorable. And when people see that, even if they don't see me, they know that that's my content. That's something that you can do now to make life easier later. Starting your email list, it can feel like a little bit of work getting it off the ground, but once you have it, then you can sit across from your seller and you can say, hey, the moment your listing goes live, I'm going to be able to send this to, 2,000 people and they're all going to get access to it. And I'm going to give them a bonus for forwarding it to a friend or sharing it to their stories or whatever. Like that makes your services so invaluable. And again, it takes work on the front end, but if you do that work now, later, you're going to be like, oh yeah, I totally have this. Like it's no big deal. And you're going to be able to like beat all these other agents that they might be interviewing, right? Because you have some systems in place. Even choosing your content for the month ahead of time. So I know like for our members, they receive all of their content a week before the new month. I tell them, hey, shoot, go through the whole thing, favorite like 5 different like posts or reels or whatever, customize your story right there, get it all scheduled. Really, realistically, in one day, you should be able to have all your content customized and ready to go. Now, if you're doing some like videos for reels and stuff, maybe you need to capture a few things, but for the most part, everything else is done for you. So if you do that now, then the rest of the month, what would it look like if you knew that your business could still grow and you don't have to spend all your time hustling or saving trends or saving a reel and recreating something or feeling like, oh shoot, now this is going to expire if I don't, you don't have to do any of that. You can literally just work ahead of time and then you're good to go. You don't have to worry about it again for another month. Saving photos and like a reusable, like either a Canva folder or in your phone's photos, like any kind of on-brand photos. So if you find something in dupe photos, if you have photos of yourself that you really like any brand photos, anything that you just take on your own with your iPhone that you're like, ooh, that really like felt good. Like that looked right. Save it in one folder. That way you're not digging through and like trying to sort out the chaos between like the photos of your dog and when your kids stole your phone. I don't know about you. That happens to me all the time. My kids take my phone and take these like ridiculous videos. And then I'm like, I'm just trying to find this one screenshot that I saved or whatever. So it's all about like what you can do to make something easier later. So like, what can you do now to make showing up easier? What can you do now to make getting clients easier? What can you do now to make handling a large client load easier later? Like assuming that the work that you're doing, if your goal is actually to increase the number of clients that you're working with, if your goal is to manage, 10, 15, 20 clients at a time, what do you need to do now to make that possible, to make that actually easier? There are definitely things you can do. If you really want to know what that would actually look like, go back and listen to episode 26 with Chelsea Harold. It's called She Built Her Dream Real Estate Business Without Sacrificing Her Life. And here's everything you need to know, because she actually has done that very thing, managing 20-some clients at a time. And she has built the team and the systems in place so that it's actually possible. And you can do that too. Okay, number 4 is live in the season. So maybe you just had a baby, or maybe you are dealing with grief right now. Maybe you are still working your 9 to 5. Maybe you've had some health issues. Like whatever that looks like, live in the season and like honor that. I know, gosh, I had to do that too. And like even with like being a football wife again, like I know for myself, during football season, I say no to a lot of things, which is really inconvenient for a lot of people because considering it's like the start of a new school year, things are starting at church, things are starting with classrooms and all the signups and everything. My answer is like, I will be available at the end of November. And like, that's the best I can do. Now, when I am available, then I'm all in. But I just have learned if I take on too much during football season, I actually am not doing anyone any favors. I'm not doing myself any favors or my kids or my husband, and I'm not making life any better for anyone else. Like anything that I would say yes to, I wouldn't even be able to give them my whole attention. So honor that season that you're in and like be completely aware of it, right? This is the beauty of real entrepreneurship. Like if you're a real estate agent and you're doing things the modern way, then this is your business and you get to set the pace. You get to set the bar. You get to set the standard. And you're the only one who will do that. You are the only one. You are it. You're the only one that you're answering to. So it is so important to know where you are. If you are in a season of like hustle, if you just got your license and you're like ready to set the ground running, go for it. Like be all in. If you are in a season where you've got kids going off to college, or if you are, welcoming grandbabies, or if you are wanting to do some things in your personal life, maybe you're training for a half marathon, maybe you're going through a divorce. Like there are so many aspects of our life that we have to be hyper aware of them, and we have to respect the fact that like it is just a season. Think seasons like that don't last forever, and I'm telling you, like I was in the new mama phase for a very long time, and I felt like it was going to last forever, and now I'm out of it, and I'm like, wow, like I'm doing things now totally differently than I did them then. When I first got my real estate license, and I say this story all the time, but when I first got my real estate license, I joined Modern Agent. And I sat on my couch as my kids watched Paw Patrol, and I posted from my couch. And that was like literally the best I could do. Like I didn't have time. I couldn't go out and like create webinars or meet with all these buyers or connect with all these lenders. Like I had zero capacity for any of that, but I could post and I could like show up in my stories and like talk. And frankly, it felt good to do that because I wanted to talk to an adult. Like I needed to have some kind of interaction other than like telling someone not to hit their sister, So where are you at right now? And name what matters in that season. Maybe for you, you're in a season where you've got little kids at home and you're like, you know what? I need to spend most of my time like focusing on these guys. That's awesome. Like do that thing. But also maybe you're in a season, the same season, but you're like, I really want to get this off and running so that by the time my kids are in school, I will have this like business built and I'll have more systems in place and I'll have more help. And that's like what I want to be more present, for their schools or whatever. Like whatever that looks like for you is awesome. But you have to know your season, and you have to be willing to fight for it because no one else will. Number 5 is build the right routines. So I love how Kendra says in the book, she says routines are not destinations, but they are on-ramps. So in a world of social media, when it's like the morning routine has been completely glorified, the point isn't all the steps you take in your morning routine. The point is where it's going to get you. So I know for myself, part of my morning routine is going on some kind of walk, doing some kind of workout, and getting ready. And I get ready pretty much every single day. Like I always try to do my hair, always try to have a little bit of makeup on, always try to look decent. Because what I've learned is like when I don't, and it never fails, when I don't, and I'm just working on the computer, hustling away, I come up with this beyond brilliant idea. And then I'm like, oh, I can't hop on stories and share that real quick because I look like trash. You know what I mean? And so what I've just learned, if I can have that be part of my routine where I don't even think about it anymore and I just do it, then I'm prepared for whatever comes my way that day. And it actually helps me so much. So think about a routine in your life. What would this actually look like for you? And it doesn't have to be a morning routine. It can be anything. It can be like how you prepare for a mini consult. It can be how you send your emails. If you know that you're going to send an email on Friday, then maybe part of your routine is on Thursday, hopping on your stories and saying, hey, I'm sending out this email tomorrow. Here's what it's going to consist of. Who wants to sign up? If it is, having to do with your actual content, what does that routine look like for you? Does that mean you prepare it all in one day? Does that mean you look at it every Sunday night? Does that mean that you just kind of show up in the moment and do whatever? Like there's no wrong answer, but it's knowing your routine and building the right routine for you and your life and what matters in the stage of life for you right now. This is where it's so important to really ask yourself what matters, because everyone's goals here might be completely different. So everyone's routines should reflect that and should look different as well. Number 6 is set house rules. So her example in the book is do little things in your actual home and have just like some basic standard rules that everyone is committed to following to keep every other domino from like completely tumbling over when one thing goes wrong. Episode 21, it's all about our modern agent standards. These are basically house rules for modern agents, okay? So it's asking yourself, like, what is the bare minimum I have to do every day to still hit my goals, and then committing to always doing those things. That could be like showing up in stories. That could be following up with a client once a week or every day, or, reaching out for coffee with whoever. It could be attending some kind of a continuing education class every month, like whatever that looks like for you, committing to it. And this is when you do those things and you're just committed to that and you build that into your routine, it keeps that first domino from falling. And then all of a sudden, like, how many times do we look back at the end of a month after we've like started so well, and then we're like, shoot, like I didn't actually do any of the things I set out to do. This is what these house rules are meant to help you avoid. Now, I say all of this in your business, but I actually do believe that setting house rules in your actual home will help you with this too. You know, as real estate agents, we work out of our houses a lot. And maybe you're like a lot more type B than I am. I'm type B in a lot of areas of my life, but when it comes to like my house, I just cannot stand when there's things on the floor. I can't stand when I see like dog hair in the corner of my house, which happens a lot with an Australian Shepherd. When there's like stuff all over the counters, like when I walk through the kitchen and I feel crumbs on my feet, I just cannot. Like it's all over for me. So I have little house rules to help us get there. Part of those house rules include, first of all, our shoes always stay at the baskets at the front of the garage. And that's, if you walk into the house, it's like, kids, shoes off, book bags there, hang it all up. Like that's where everything goes to keep all of this like flood of school stuff coming into our house, right into our kitchen and like totally taking over. We do what I call a 10-minute tidy, and it's really just a matter, like I should really get a whistle at this point and just like blow my whistle so that everyone knows like it's time, like the time starts now. Because I'm like, if everyone just pitches in for 10 minutes, we could actually get this house looking okay and feeling a lot better. And then I can like focus again. I actually started doing this now that the kids are back in school. I started doing this in the morning as well. Like it's like, okay, I'm going to get a load of laundry started. I'm going to either empty the dishwasher or get a new load started so that like even while I'm in here focusing on work, my mind can rest knowing that everything's happening out there that can possibly be happening. And I'm not going to be like behind. Those are really good house rules. So balance that, like think about like house rules for your actual home, but also just like your standards for business, your standards for operating, how you're going to show up, what you're going to commit to so that you can continue to reach your goals, even on the days when things don't go perfectly, right? Even on the days when your kid's sick, or even on the days when something happens in your transaction or like a showing pops up or whatever else. Like house rules will save those dominoes from like completely tumbling over and having you like completely stressed out to the max. Number 7 was put everything in its place. So this is true for your home and marketing, just talking about like house rules, right? If you know where things belong and everyone puts things where they go, like if you have a place for everything, it just gives you a little bit more breathing room and like you're able to function in your house. And the same is true for marketing. This is where like organizing your Canva templates, having your brand colors and fonts already selected on like your Canva brand kit, having all of that done already, having an album in your phone dedicated to those photos, whether it's your images or like dupe photos, whatever that looks like for you, having a place for those things. This also includes like knowing what belongs where. So like not treating your social media as a website, but treating it as a place to socialize with people in your community, right? But then also knowing what should be on your website. Like have everything in its place and it will make your marketing so much more seamless and it'll make it a lot easier to show up. You'll show up with a little bit more confidence because you'll feel good about how things look, where things have gone. You're going to know, you're just going to be able to work a lot smarter with that. Part of this also includes purging what no longer works for you, right? So if you have like 18 lead magnets, like you can at least delete 15 of those. Like you don't need to have everything. If you have old headshots, like you can delete those. If you have old branding that technically still works, but you kind of are embarrassed about, or you're kind of like, this doesn't really match my vibe, or I just don't feel good about handing this out, then like be done with it. Like know what belongs in the past and know what belongs in the future and like make those decisions that are going to get you where you want to go. Now, number 8 is really interesting. Number 8 is letting people in. So we've talked before in the Modern Agent Standard episode as well about like how modern agents nurture relationships. Guys, real estate is a relationship business. It is all about nurturing those relationships and like being available, being a friend, being a resource, especially because people aren't buying houses every day. So you have to be there for the long term. And what does that look like? That looks like being a resource. That looks like having a trusted relationship with somebody. This is where like in your Instagram stories, just sharing little personal snippets of your day is a way to let people into your life. This doesn't mean you have to show everything. This doesn't mean you have to show your messy house or the fact that like your kids spilled something all over or your messy van or whatever else. Like this just just means like letting people see little parts of your day so they feel like they know you. I'm willing to bet that by this point, anyone listening to this show would say they feel like they know me and Chelsea. Like they feel like they've heard enough about us that they would feel like they could have a million things to talk to us about, right? And I would probably, I mean, it's kind of funny. I feel the same way about you, even though I don't know everyone personally, but like, I feel like we all have enough in common, right? Where that could probably happen. But there's also plenty of things that would just maybe surprise you or maybe catch you off guard, or you'd be like, oh, I had no idea, because we don't share our entire lives on the internet. That's not the point. The point is letting people in with just little snippets so that you have enough to talk to them about and enough to connect with them over. This also is great for like come with me style content. So we talk about being come with me girls and not look at me girls. So when we're going to a showing or when we're going to a local event or when we are, even just going to the car pickup line or wherever, come with me and I'm going to talk to you as I'm doing these things. That kind of content is letting people in. But in a more practical way, this also means like having an accountability partner or having like a real estate bestie in your office or even in your community that you just know, like you can bounce ideas off of, you can like shoot content for each other, all of those things. Obviously memberships are a really great place to do this too. So like that's one thing that we love seeing in our membership is when people join and they're like, hey, I just joined, I've been working for this long, this is my goal, this is about where I'm at. Like, is there anyone who wants to be an accountability buddy or who wants to do this together? And people are always jumping in saying like, yeah, sure, I will. And like all these little like small groups have started because they're in community with people and they've let people in. You don't have to do this alone, right? Like you can let people in and find the support that you need. Okay, number 9 is batch it. This always reminds me of bop it. Like I always want to say batch it. But the whole point is that you want to look for tasks that you repeat and you want to figure out a way to do them all at once. Kind of like how I talked about how, gosh, I'm making a lot of peanut butter and jellies every week. Why don't I just make 10 of them on Sundays and then I have a whole freezer full of them to pull out and get going. Makes lunches a lot easier in the morning. That's several different lazy genius principles in one, right? So a lot of times, like, I compare batching things to meal prepping, but it's also true for your marketing. So knowing that you are like getting ready in the morning, if you're going to spend a day getting ready in the morning because you want to like finish a reel, why not just create 5 reels in one day instead of feeling like, well, now I got to get ready again, or now I have to set this up again, or clean this part of my house up again, or wherever. Like, batching is so much smarter. Batching your emails, especially like for Modern Agents members who already have the bulk of those emails done for you, when you can just batch them and schedule them ahead of time, like you don't even have to think about it again. Like it's seriously so much easier. And you can do this with like content. You can schedule content ahead, whatever that looks like for you. Now, you don't have to batch everything, and I don't recommend that you do, because then you end up kind of just doing more work on the back end than what you probably even needed to begin with. The point is not to just like have busy work. The point is to get everything done at once so that you can focus on other aspects of your business that you need to focus on. Okay, we're getting real close to the end here. We are on number 10. Number 10 is essentialize. So this is where it's really, really important to name what matters. Not all content matters. So cut any fluff, cut anything that doesn't align with your goals. This is like, what is that old phrase? Like addition by subtraction, which I actually think she mentioned in the book. But like, look at the number of marketing tasks that you're actually doing in a month. And like beyond social media, right? Think of every little thing that you do in your business to grow your business. And then ask yourself, which ones are actually moving the needle? Or maybe not so much which ones are moving the needle, but which ones have the most potential to move the needle. This is what I always say about social media. Maybe someone's social media right now, maybe you're like, you know what? I'm not even getting much return on investment over here. Totally understand that. However, look at the potential that it has. When you compare like showing up on social media every week to hosting an open house every weekend. An open house every weekend, yes, that does get you in front of people who are probably ready to buy a house. But that also only gets you in front of maybe 10 people max on like a good open house, sometimes more, sometimes a lot less. So you could spend 2 hours a week getting in front of 10 people who may or may not buy with you. Or what if you spent that same 2 hours, but you created content and like scheduled content for the week that could get you in front of thousands and sometimes even hundreds of thousands of people get so many more views, start so many more conversations. And yes, most of those people aren't ready to buy right now, but most of them know someone who is, right? Like think about the return on investment. So maybe it's not so much what you could possibly get out of it right now, or like what your like addition by subtraction thing would be now, but like when you essentialize, that's where you really focus on those things that like have the most potential and the most like the biggest needle movers in your business, and then literally like purge the rest. And I'm talking like, don't be afraid to get ruthless. Like your time is precious. If there's anything we've learned from Taylor Swift, right? Like your energy is expensive. And if you're spending your energy on things that are cheap and that don't move the needle and that don't get you more clients and don't get you more closings, it's not worth your time. Number 11, go in the right order. So she talks about a couple different things here. She talks about how like you have to remember what matters, you have to calm the crazy, and then you have to trust yourself. So when by trusting yourself, you quit worrying about what everyone else is doing and you do what you need to do. So when you remember what matters, you're thinking about like, okay, in my season of life with my goals, I have decided that this is what matters to me and this is how I'm going to get there. You're probably going to have other agents in your community or maybe even your broker be like, I don't think that you need to be talking on your stories every day about whatever. If like they might not totally understand, but that's where you trust yourself. You calm the crazy by essentializing, right? By batching things, by working smarter in those systems so that you can like focus mostly on the results that you're going to get. There's a great example of this is like not obsessing over your analytics, especially when you haven't even been consistent with the type of marketing that you wanted to do yet. Okay. If you start looking at your analytics after one day or 1 month of doing the kind of content that you actually want to do, assuming that you've showed up consistently and done it the way that you've wanted to, you're probably not going to get the results that you have wanted. And then you might think, oh no, like maybe I should do this, maybe I should do that. Just stop with the analytics for a little bit here. Focus on what matters, essentialize here. Think about only the things that are actually going to move the needle and then commit to it like hardcore. Be so focused on this, like laser focused for like at least 3 months, even 6 months. When you do that, you will see the needle move. And if you don't, you will see, oh, these are the things I've been doing that aren't working. So I'm going to cut those out and now I'm going to focus on this. It's going to give you so much more clarity. Number 12 is schedule rest. So this pairs really well with episode 13, which is 4 times your results with this strategy. This is where we talk about the 12-week year and how in the 12-week year, it talks about how even as you are trying really hard to hit your goals in a short amount of time and you're very laser focused, you're also continuing to schedule rest and play. Like during your workday, you're even scheduling time to break away from your office, to break away from your computer, your meetings, your education, whatever, and you're going and doing things that just fill your cup, that just feel good. This is like, just as a human to human here, that is so important. We have to be able to give ourselves that rest. In the book, it talks about like seasonal rest. So this is like once every like 3 months, just take a whole day off and then just do something fun that makes you feel rested. So it's not about like sleeping or like going to a spa, but it's about doing anything that just makes you feel like rejuvenated. Also having like weekly rest. So just schedule a time in your week where you're like, no, I'm going to be home this morning and this is what I'm going to do. Or I'm going to take 30 minutes this morning and just read a book before I get started. That just for your mental health alone, that's so important. Daily rest is so important. So like knowing when to turn your phone off or keep it in your room and walk away. Your clients will all survive. No fires will happen that you haven't been able to put out when you do that. And it'll like keep you grounded and keep you focused on the things that matter, right? It also talks about like soul rest. So like really doing the things that like really recharge you. So maybe it's going to church, maybe it's journaling or whatever that looks like for you, like meditating, like taking that time to like do some deep breath work and like focus on the things that really, really matter to you. Not like business goals, but like heart values, right? Like focus on that. Rest is so important. If you can find a way to build in some offline days or even just offline times in your day. So whether like we've talked before about like in the standard episode about like from 5 to 7, just turn off your phone or whatever time that would look like for you, but like turn it off, walk away and like just be completely present, be where your feet are. That can help your brain rest and like recharge so that even when you go back to it, you're a little more clear on what actually matters and you're not going to get as sidetracked as what you maybe would have before. And lastly, guys, you guys have made it through. This is my favorite topic, but this last one is be kind to yourself. So on page 192 of the book, she goes over a little bit about what this could look like for you. But like, this is where it's so important because we start to tell ourselves these lies that like, oh, we've messed up. And so we're just not cut out for this. Or we tried, but we just keep going back to the same thing. Or no one even likes my content, or no one's signing up for my guide. And so this isn't really for me. But really, like, we need to give ourselves some grace here and be kind to us. This is just like these are a few of her examples in here, but she talks about like keep a journal and write about how you're doing, even on your seasonal, or like do that on your seasonal rest days. She talks about like taking a walk and whispering a prayer of thankfulness for who you are. Look in the mirror, smile at yourself without judgment. Allow yourself space to sit without anything to show for it. Ooh, that one is like, I'm going to read that one again. Allow yourself space to sit without anything to show for it. So you don't have to be so productive. Stop wearing clothes that don't fit or that don't make you feel like yourself. Stop critiquing every choice and how it affects the ideal future you. Like, talk about giving yourself some grace. I am convinced if more of us could learn how to be more gracious with ourselves, we would have the stamina to show up and to do the work that's going to get us where we want to go. So if we're missing a post, or if we start a signature series and then we forget to do another reel about it, or if we said, hey, this is my Friday weekly email, and then we send one a month, like, that's okay. It is okay. We are harder on ourselves than anyone else is. The goal is to pick it right back up without shame and to keep pressing forward, because again, you're the only one that can do that. No one else can do it for you. Guys, this is like some of my favorite topics. I hope that you'll take a chance to read her book, The Lazy Genius Way. You can also listen to her podcast, The Lazy Genius. I would love to actually have her on the show sometime, but I think Kendra is a little busy for us today. But that is it for this week's episode. I hope that encouraged you. I hope that you're able to walk away with something. We have so many fun things in store for you the rest of this month. Some really great episodes that we're continuing to work on. And our Modern Agent website for members only is going to be it's going to be like a week away, I think, by the time that this episode airs. So we are in the home stretch. Our members are about to have this like totally new, luxurious marketing platform available to them. It's going to make everything that I just talked about even easier. It's going to be great. So I can't wait. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next Tuesday. Bye.
I'm so glad we got to hang out today. If you're as sad as I am that our time is up, I've got good news. There are a couple of different ways we can keep the conversation going.
First, follow us on Instagram at Modern Agent Marketing Girls and introduce yourself in the DMs. Also, we always have a free Modern Agent resource available, so check out today's show notes for the goods.
And finally, hang out with other go-to real estate girls like you and finally create a marketing plan that works when you join Modern Agent Social Club. All the details are in today's notes.
XOXO, the Marketing Girls.